Yo, what's cracking everyone? Ericship 111 here. So next year in 2026, we're finally getting arguably the most highly anticipated Forza Horizon game ever, a title that the community has been asking for well over a decade, a location that really, after the announcement of Forza Horizon 5, we thought would never ever happen, and a game that could truly make or break the series as a whole. That's right, Forza Horizon 6 Japan is real. However, even though Playground Games finally gave in to their community's most requested location, many do fear that Horizon 6 would simply be the same game with just a different map. And although there is a fair chance that could happen, I'm feeling a little more optimistic, as throughout the second and third year of Forza Horizon 5, Playground Games did show that we as the community matter and introduce a lot of cool features we thought we would never see. So in today's video, I want to share my incredibly bold predictions for the upcoming Forza Horizon game. These will not be safe guesses, but rather big swings that could either age this video like fine wine or milk. And if you have any predictions of your own, share them down in the comment section below, and who knows, perhaps some of you may already be able to see the future. Starting off with my first bold prediction, less FOMO. So when Forza Horizon 4 first introduced the festival playlist back in Update 7, this would single-handedly change the way we progress through the game, as now every week we must complete a series of tasks, events, and challenges in order to unlock all of the newly introduced content for that month. And while this may seem like a great idea to get players engaged on a weekly basis at first, after 6 years, including the entire life of Forza Horizon 5, fatigue has finally settled in. Players are tired of feeling like they have to play the game each week, sick of missing out on the newly introduced cars, not knowing when they'll have another chance of obtaining them again, over the monthly grinds that seem more like an obligation rather than being fun. The festival playlist slowly became something that was meant to give players more content to explore, to being this cheap and uncreative way of keeping players around. The Horizon series has always been built upon freedom, play how you want, when you want, at your own pace, with no fear of missing out on any new content, which is why I believe for Forza Horizon 6, we're going to finally see some big changes. Now, I'm not expecting Playground Games to completely remove the festival playlist, as if I'm being completely honest, it does keep the game alive, but I do believe it will go through a massive overhaul so it becomes a feature that complements Forza Horizon 6 rather than control it, resulting in a more flexible system that doesn't punish players for having a life outside of the game and without the fear of needing to unlock timed exclusive content, as there will be multiple alternative ways to obtain them immediately after. Number 2, 6 to 8 years. So depending on when Forza Horizon 6 launches, this will mean that Forza Horizon 5 would have a lifespan of around 4 to 5 years, which honestly for a Horizon game is absolutely insane. The fact that right now, even on Steam, this game still pulls over 10,000 active users per day, and that's not even factoring all of the new PlayStation players, as well as recurring Xbox users. Horizon 5 is still very healthy despite not having any new monthly content in almost a year. Now just imagine for Forza Horizon 6, set in the most highly requested location, a place that fans have been begging for since Horizon 3. Do I honestly believe that after 4 to 5 years, we're moving on to Forza Horizon 7? I don't think so. I believe Playground Games setting Forza Horizon 6 in Japan was a long-term investment. It's kind of a location that the developers know will give the series immense longevity, which means that everything about the recent Forza Horizon games that we were familiar with will most likely disappear. I already talked about the less FOMO, but I also think monthly updates are going to be a thing of the past. If my prediction of a 6 to 8 year life cycle is true, introducing content on a monthly basis is simply not sustainable. And with Phil Spencer stating in an interview recently that Xbox is now fostering more of a less pressured environment for developers to constantly produce new content, seeing new updates every 3 months could feel more impactful, as well as giving the team more time to actually introduce new content instead of having to rely on returning cars from previous titles like they did with Horizon 5. I'm also making this prediction because AAA titles already take roughly 4 to 6 years to develop, and with the next generation of Xboxes also rumored to release in 2027, this will most likely mean that at some point Forza Horizon 6 will get an upgrade for the new hardware, further delaying any possibility of Forza Horizon 7 releasing any time before 2032, which I know sounds insane. Number 3, 2 expansions will be gone. The current Horizon formula, where the base game launches and then 2 additional expansions gets released after, is something that was first seen back in Forza Horizon 3, a title that only had a lifespan of 2 years. Now in Forza Horizon 4 and Horizon 5, Playground Games kept that exact same formula while extending the life of each installment, and honestly, it's an outdated format. How many times, especially for Xbox players, despite the healthy player count, have you gone, my goodness, I need more places to explore? And these expansions introduced for Horizon 5 weren't exactly big either. Now, should Forza Horizon 6 become a long-standing title, my prediction is that this expansion format will be gone. One option is that they could introduce more expansions throughout the game's life, but having one main map and several other small maps feels quite fragmented. The fact that we also have to fast travel to each of the DLCs feels like there's a separation within the entire Horizon world, which is why I believe, and this is the second option, is that Horizon 6 Japan, for the first time ever, will introduce an ever-expanding map, meaning that every so often the base map will grow into something bigger, whether it's a new prefecture, district, or city, all completely free for everyone to explore. Kinda like the Crew Motorfest with all of their additional island updates. To me, Japan simply has too much to offer, but to fit everything which makes Japan unique into one map at launch would be a near impossible challenge. It's either going to force Playground Games to cram everything too tightly, or potentially leave out half of what makes Japan unique. So instead of handcuffing themselves, only giving enough time available prior to the game's release, this is their perfect opportunity to experiment with slowly growing the main map after the game has released. That way, it allows Playground Games to further enrich the base map, providing that they don't be lazy and just release something that's half-baked. Each year, Horizon 6 will feel different with more places to explore and a real roadmap that will truly excite the community for many years to come. But what do you guys think? Number 4, real progression returning. When I read all of the interviews about Forza Horizon 6, as well as analysing the announcement trailer and some of the transcripts, I can't help but to feel that real progression is making a comeback. The idea of becoming a racing legend sounds like more than just a tagline. To me, it feels like Playground Games may finally be taking progression seriously, giving players a tangible sense of growth and accomplishment throughout Forza Horizon 6. You see, for years, the Horizon series has been criticised for rewarding players too quickly, handing out top tier cars within hours of starting the game, and honestly, for a racing game, or any game for that matter, what's the point of playing if you're spoiled right away? Now, with Playground Games paying closer attention to all of our feedbacks, I think progression is going to be one of their top priorities. But how will they go about this? That's pretty hard to say. We could see a similar progression style to the original Forza Horizon, where there's a series of races you need to defeat, or perhaps something closer to Horizon 5's Hot Wheel expansion, where you start in a lower class championship and work your way up to the next. I don't exactly know for sure, but one thing I'm confident about is that the cars themselves will play a massive role. If we look at some of the Japanese cars introduced into Forza Horizon 5, like the Toyota Serra, the tiny Nissans, the AutoZam AZ1. Right now in Forza Horizon 5, these cars were introduced simply for fun and more of a novelty, but in Forza Horizon 6, I believe they'll actually have a purpose within the progression system. Yes, I understand that freedom must still exist in a Forza Horizon game, however, some structure would not hurt. If the next game is going to boast over 1,000 cars, why not encourage players to drive a range of them throughout the campaign instead of just adding them for collection purposes only to never drive them again? Number 5, no more toxic positivity. So how many of you feel in Forza Horizon 5 that the energy in the game is bright but overly cheerful? Look, I understand that the Horizon series has transitioned into this light-hearted, fun and accessible racer for all, but I feel as though this game seems to try way too hard to keep me happy at all times. Even during certain challenges where the stakes were high, the presentation and commentary often made it feel less thrilling. It lacked any sense of real consequences. Win or lose, everything will be A-OK. To me, this is what I call toxic positivity, and it actually waters down the excitement and emotion anytime I do win or complete a challenge, as there's no real weight behind it. From time to time, let me know I'm a terrible driver, let me fail spectacularly and feel it. That is how you make a racing game become exciting, because no one becomes a racing legend without some adversity. With Forza Horizon 6 being set in a location that has one of the most serious automotive cultures in the world, we don't want a character like Romero walking around the streets of Tokyo smiling 24/7. We want characters that are more serious with a grounded tone. This isn't to say that I think Forza Horizon 6 will go in the complete opposite direction, but I think this time we will see characters with a little more edge, characters that will subtly throw you reminders that you shouldn't lose this upcoming battle, ultimately finding a true balance between joy and challenge that makes the racing in Forza Horizon 6 satisfying yet not hollow. Number 6, a new beginning. Now, with all of my bold predictions, you could even say that Forza Horizon 6 could already be a new beginning, but I also think from here onwards, how Playground Games approach their future Horizon titles will be very different. Perhaps we may not even see a Forza Horizon 7, and this could be the final title in a sense where, much like the initial plan for Turn 10's Forza Motorsport, Horizon 6 Japan could be the start of the series moving more towards an evergreen title where, should the game introduce a new location, we would simply have to purchase it through a new DLC. And why I believe this is, Japan will only happen once in the Horizon series, and looking far into the future of Horizon, at some point, if Playground Games was to continue releasing singular titles with a new location every time, eventually even Forza Horizon 6 will go offline, and that's the end of the game's most requested location no longer being supported. I mean, where else could Playground Games realistically go that would match the hype of Horizon 6 Japan? I honestly can't think of any, which makes me believe that one way or another, Japan as a location will permanently stick with the series until Horizon doesn't exist anymore. Perhaps Forza Horizon World next? So, those are my 6 incredibly bold predictions for Forza Horizon 6. What are yours? Share them down in the comment section below, as I do read all of your comments, guys. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please make sure to smash a thumbs up button, as it really does help me out. And of course, if you guys would like to stay up to date with everything Forza Horizon 6 related, be sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.